Hi, I'm Roland Montpellier in Ottawa. SCAN is delighted to offer a remarkable set of organizing resources called the Climate Conversations Toolkit. Now, this toolkit is for SCAN members and all other allies in the climate movement. It's for everyone who wants to speak to and organize new members for the mass climate movement. I have to say that personally that all this material is quite original, surprising, energizing, and gives me hope that we can make a real impact in building the mass movement. Now I'd like to introduce SCAN member Jane Adams, who has written this toolkit, and it's based on 30 years of community development and organizing experience. So Jane, what was the point in producing this toolkit?
Thank you, Rolly. As you know, SCAN's #1 priority is to organize seniors to build the movement for emergency action. So that's what we're doing. We're organizing because as elders, we know that of all the things we do for the people we love, this is by far the most important. And now is the perfect time to go out there bringing new members on board because everybody knows that the climate crisis is real. It's in the news every day. And what people want to know now is what they can do, possibly together, possibly collectively, about climate action. So that's where we come in. And talking to groups of people is one way of building the movement. But as we all know, people find it hard to imagine going out and speaking to groups, especially if people in the group are feeling freaked out or guilty or hopeless or alone, because we've had all our thoughts about climate change horribly distorted by 30 years of billions worth of public relations campaigns by the oil and gas industry and the other big polluters. These and the politics of neoliberalism have thrown up so many barriers to people being able to think or feel what's in their own best interests. So the toolkit gives everyone some really valuable techniques for talking to groups, especially the personal reinforcement for dealing with barriers, and enough information to do a really good job. But the thing is that as members of this movement, that we've been drawn into the movement, we already have the character and personal skills to do it. We just feel intimidated by the science. But people knowing the science is not the problem right now.
So Jane, can you take us through the chapters in the toolkit? I see there are 5 main topics.
Okay. What I'll say is that the materials are all based on the most significant theories of community building and organizing. And the first chapter shows real life agendas, real situations that you can adapt any way you want. And it shows also how you can plan your climate conversation. The next thing are program activities, and mass movements are generated by people talking to each other about their reality and about injustice. And the goal is that people speak for at least 3/4 of the time of your conversation. And these activities are what you'll use to get them talking and communicating with each other. The next thing are 10 PowerPoint decks on relevant topics, and you just choose a few from here and there if you feel you need them. And you can show them, you can display them, or you could just use them as hard copy speaking notes. And then there's 9 articles that I've written about the wonderful history and philosophies and approaches of this organizing policy, as well as practical advice on a number of things, such as how to respond to tricky questions.
So Jane, there are various, organizing philosophies or philosophies of organizing. What is the predominant approach that you've laid out in the toolkit?
The common ground is the basis for this whole approach, seeking solidarity. Every social justice movement tells us that what fortifies people for action is their feeling of being part of a collective community, their own emotional resources, their own wisdom and experiences, and what they love enough that's worth fighting for. That's what turns people on. So we want to help them muster the energy and the excitement to get organized and to take collective action. So what we focus on is curiosity about people, where people are at, empathy and respectful regard for their concerns and opinions, and imaginative questioning and listening to get to the bottom of what's going on with them and how to find, as I say, common cause. So, and our approach is very little telling, convincing, lecturing, or making rebuttals. We're trying to have real conversations that are not just a series of rebuttals. So rebuttals, I mean, they just kill me. All these lists going around about how to rebut to what people say. So they say something, and then we give them the correct answer. And then they say something, and then we give them the correct answer. And this is not organizing. It's almost the worst thing you can do. We are not in a fight with them to be right. We are searching for ways to be in solidarity with them, to try to understand them and what worries them most, and what they've already got going for them that's going to help them move forward. So we are not science experts lecturing them and debating. That's a different agenda for another time. Most importantly, we're not waiting to act before we or they have learned everything there is to know about climate change.
And it's extremely exciting that right now, all over the world, millions of people are just not waiting to act, but they're putting themselves in the fight with some really astonishing successes. Now, people like us have overcome all that negativity to really confront government and industry. So we need that in this in the cloud of mass movement to have a major impact. So here's where you can find the information for the toolkit on this particular slide. It's on the SCAN website. You look for the blue banner that says Climate Conversations Toolkit. And also to contact us, you can see our email address, seniors@climateaction.org. So Jane, do you have a final message to?
Well, I just think that our message is just, let's get out there talking to people, organizing, because as I said before, of all the things we do for the children in our lives, this is the one that will make the biggest difference.